The next item is a request for TOMA students to participate in the 2013 Wisconsin Youth Risk Behavior Survey.
I'll flip this.
And we have participated in this before.
Yes, we have participated in this youth risk behavior survey. There's an executive summary that you can see from 2011. I've also embedded for you the actual survey for both the middle school students and the high school students. Now, this is the survey that a year ago or so we had the gals from CISA come to report on TOMA's findings, and one of our former board members had expressed some real concern about, there are a number of questions on here that students are asked to answer that deal with suicide and well, it's risk behavior. And this is an anonymous survey. We do not find out who answers what. And I know, that Mr. Busianis had indicated some real concern that might open us up for some liability. This survey is done throughout the state. I know that at the time when those concerns were brought up, we did mention that in the future we certainly can say to students as they're taking the assessment or the survey that if this brings forward in them some feelings of concern, that there are people there that can assist them or help them. The data is important. It's important for us to set goals on what we need to be looking at and improving on. It's important for this region of the state because CISA likes to get data from all of the school districts in the area. They write grants that's based on using that information. So, I highly encourage you to approve allowing students to take this survey. Now, parents do have the opportunity to view all of the questions, so they'll get a letter at home that lets them know that they can come into school to view the survey if they have any questions on it. Students can choose not to answer any question. They don't have to answer everything. So if they choose to skip a question, nobody goes and says you didn't answer this. We have used passive permission in the past, meaning the letter goes home to the parents and parents are told if you do not want your child participating in the survey, please return this form. Primarily because when we're talking about all of our middle school and high school students, that's a lot of individuals to track down a permission slip for. But that is traditionally how we have done that in the past.
I think in the past, not 2011, but before then, when didn't we, I wasn't here then, but my understanding was that when, like, for example, suicide information came out of that the counselors in our schools took that and beefed up programming of education on that, so that we do take the information, and even though we don't know who did it, we address those issues in a general way.
Yes.
When those issues show up.
I make a motion to approve the request for TOMA students to participate in the 2013 Wisconsin Youth Risk Behavior Survey.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the request for TOMA students to participate in the 2013 Wisconsin Youth Risk Behavior Survey as presented. Any other questions or discussion?
Are you comfortable sitting with the passive, parental permission that you mentioned?
Yes, I am.
Okay. No issues with that before.
I think we put it in the newsletter. We can send out emails so we can remind parents that this is that your child will participate unless we hear differently. And I think in the past we've had anywhere from 5 to 10 parents that have opted not to have their children participate, which is fine. Then we provide other opportunities for them to be engaged in while their classmates are taking the assessment.
I can accept that under these circumstances.
Do you list, like, I mean, you describe what's in the survey that they're going to be talking about, so that it gives them, the parents, the opportunity to discuss it with their students too?
Yes, there'll be some description about these other topics that are going to be covered, and again, parents are welcome to come in and look at the survey so that they know as well what the questions are.
Passive permission. That's such an elegant phrase, Mrs. Hardy. Any other questions or discussion?
Passive, if you're not familiar, passive permission is used quite regularly
Yes.
in our district. I mean,
familiar now.
Some of these comments are because we've had a discussion on this in some of the committees.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's come up in other contexts where my concerns were privacy under these circumstances where it's such an anonymous survey, and because of the numbers involved, I have no problem with it. I'm being a little bit ornery again. But I think it's appropriate here. I'm not taking issue at all with it. I think it's a very worthwhile survey. I'm sure that information is very helpful. So I am all in favor of it. Okay. We do have a standing motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion regarding this survey? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. The ayes have it. The motion carries and that request is approved.